Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning with Jelly. Today is day 24 of our 30-day SQL challenge, where we're just going to do three practice problems to practice those window and string functions. So let's go ahead and get into the agenda for today. It's all about practice. So have that SQLite Studio opened. I'm going to give you a question, pause the video, see if you can attempt it on your own, and then click resume so you can see the answers and we'll work through it together. So, if you are new to the 30-day SQL challenge, welcome. We are so happy to have you. The whole goal is to work on SQL for 30 days straight, learning beginner to intermediate SQL skills. We have two QR codes on the screen in front of you. One is a topic list that's going to list the videos and supplemental resources. And another is our Facebook group where you can ask for support, help troubleshoot, find a study buddy, and more. So, just a reminder of the Chinook database, and I'm going to flip back to this on our last question so we can see how our tables are related. But this is a entity relationship diagram that lists all of your table names, such as playlists, tracks, artists, albums, etc., and how each table is related. So let's hop into SQLite Studio and let's do some practice problems. So remember, window functions are like our row number, rank, dense rank, lag, lead, things of that nature. And the string functions that we learned are upper, subster, trim, and so forth. So the first question should be fairly straightforward. So we are going to write a query to find the length of the album titles in the albums table, and we're going to display the album title and its length. So I'm just going to expand albums, and this is what we're working with. Okay. And they tell you the two columns we want to return. So try this one on your own. You're going to return two columns. And let's get started. So let's go ahead and select the album title. So I'm going to do title because that's what it's called. Select title. And then we're going to do length of title. And let's just do an alias as title underscore length from albums. And let's go ahead and run this. And we get our title length. And we definitely can sort title length. Say, for instance, we're trying to figure out the max amount of characters that we need to account for when dealing with titles. So when you're making your database and you're doing a var chart, you may want it to be 70 so that it doesn't cut off any titles, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So now our second one, I'm just going to collapse that. We're going to write a query to rank customers based on the total amount they have spent. Use the row number window function to assign a unique rank to each customer. Display the customer ID, total amount spent, and their rank. So definitely try this on your own and pause the video. Some key takeaways is that you're going to want to use the row number function. You're not going to use a partition by, but you're going to use an order by. So that's a hint, hint. And you want to return the customer ID, the total that they spent. So what aggregate function like average, count, sum gives you total, and you want to get their rank. So if Angelica spent the most, she's ranked one. The next customer is ranked two for second most, rank three, and so forth. So I'm going to look at the invoices table because this has my nice little total column. And they said display customer ID, total spent, and their rank. So let's just do a nice little select. And I'm going to select customer ID, sum of that total. And then I am going to now do that ranking. And keep in mind, this is a window function. So the aggregate function or whatever function we're going to use goes in front. In this case, it's row number. It could be sum, it could be average, it could be dense rank, whatever. And when I'm using a window function, I use that over. So within this over clause, I'm going to actually order by sum of total descending because I actually want the first person, the highest total, to be at the top and get rank one. And I'm just going to alias this as total rank. And we're working with the invoices table. So we're going to do from invoices. And then I'm going to select this. And it says, oh, no such column as KUA ID. So I'm going to change that to customer. And this is what I get. So let's see what happened here. So I only got one customer ID in the sum of total. Hmm, this is interesting here. So how can I fix this? Let's see if we can do an actual group by customer ID. If I can spell customer correctly. And here, now we actually have the rank that we want. So, this is about troubleshooting your code. If you get an unexpected output, kind of think of what it's saying. So, in this case, I have rank number one with the highest total, and these numbers should be decreasing. And as these numbers are decreasing in sum of total, the rank should be increasing all the way down to the last customer I have. Now, what will happen if I partition by, let's say, customer ID? Some of you probably did that. So let's do partition by customer ID. So let's see what this actually does now. Now everyone gets a rank of one because the partition by means that you're starting your count over once it hits a new value in that column that you're partitioning by. So once it hits a new customer ID, the rank is just going to start right back over at one. So we don't want to actually partition by customer ID in this case. We just want to go ahead and order and get that nice little rank out. Okay, awesome. So, our last question is going to write a query to create a list of tracks with their album titles and artist names in uppercase, trimmed, and substring to show only the first 10 characters. Woo! So, a lot of functions there. Also, include the rank of each track within its album based on the track ID. Use the rank window function for ranking. So, there's a lot going on here. So in this case, we need some track information, we need some album information, and we also need some artist information. So let's hop back into our entity relationship diagram, and we're dealing with the tracks, albums, and artists table. So it looks like to get information from all three of these tables, we're going to need to join, okay? So for artists to go to album, we can join on artist ID. And for albums to go to tracks, we can join on, it looks like, album ID. So we can start from tracks, join on albums, then join again on artists. So let's actually, with that in mind, that we have looked at that, let's hop back in SQLite Studio and let's select what we need. So they want us to select a list of tracks with their album titles. So I'm going to expand albums. I'm also going to expand artists and I'm going to expand tracks because we know we need to use those three tables. And in this case, I want album title. So I'm going to say al.title. Now, what does it want from this title? It says that it wants an uppercase trimmed and substring to show the only first characters. So let's try to do an upper on the outside. And then in the inside, let's go ahead and do a nice little trim album title. But on the outside of trim, let's do a subster. And remember, subster is you taking a piece out. So let's go ahead. We're going to start at 1 and we're going to do 10. So let's try that. Okay. And I'm going to put this as title 10. Let's do this again for the artist name. So it looks like it wants us to do, and I'm just going to hit spaces, upper subster trim. Inside the trim is artist name, so ar.name, because that's what that's called. I want to start at position 1, only return the first 10, and I'm going to put as name underscore 10. All right. And then it also wants us to do a window function using rank. So I'm going to do rank. Let's do a nice little rank. Let's do over. Okay. And it says it wants to include the rank of each track within its album based on track ID. So we want to partition by, it looks like the album. So let's do partition by album ID and then order by, let's say, track ID. Okay. Partition by AL dot rank. My rank needs my parentheses right there. Awesome. So let's see what this does. And if it doesn't work, we will adjust it. So let's do our join. So we're doing from tracks as T. Join on albums, because remember we have to go from tracks to albums to artists as albums as AL. What are we joining on? Those two have album ID in common. So we're going to do T.album ID equals AL.album ID. And then we're going to join again to get in that artist information that we need, that we abbreviated as AR. And that is going to be on artist ID. So AL.artist ID equals AR.artist ID. And let's call this rank an alias. Let's just call it as rank. So let's see what we get here. Okay, so it looks like we actually have a nice little rank going on. And this one is from a different album. That's why it has a 1. There's only one track, it seems like, in a specific album. And then it starts back over to count. This next album looks like it has 3 tracks, and so forth and so forth. So it looks like it gave us exactly what we expected it to give us. So really digest this one, because just this one is a doozy. So you are doing multiple string functions, right? The upper on the outside. Then what do I want to substir? I want to substir where I actually have trimmed the title, so no white spaces. Start at that first letter, only retain 10 characters, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing. Then I'm going to rank my tracks based off of the album ID that they're in. So I want to start the count over when there is a new album ID that it encounters. And then I want to do a join so that I'm able to get all of the information that I have in my select. My select is taking information from my albums table, my artist table, and my tracks table. So that's how I know I need to join all 3 of those tables. Okay, so let's hop back here. And that was a quick practice. Definitely go back through, try some practice questions on your own where you're actually just exploring on your own and you're like, hey, can I get a length of this? Can I make this lowercase? Can I do a rank function here? What happens if I put in a partition by? What happens if I don't put in a partition by? So all of that is you learning. So try it in the code. The code, if it throws you an error, the worst part is that you're going to fix it. So please like this video, comment and subscribe. I'm going to have my Etsy and my Buy Me a Coffee in the description below. And I look forward to the next video. Bye bye.